Hey guys, Marisa at KitchenTableStamper.com. You're joining us in video number 3 of my shameless bribe host code make and take promotion. We are now beating sales for last year. Thank you so much for all of your orders and your support. This is the third project in our series. It's a cute little treat box. I love this box. It's been in the vault. It was from one of our online classes. So if you haven't seen our online classes, check it out. KitchenTableStamper.com/shop. There's, I think, upward of 70 online classes there, and treats and fun things that you've never seen anywhere else. So we're bringing this one out from the vault and gonna do this project. You saw I had some Swiss Miss pumpkin spice hot cocoa. I never saw this in the stores last year, so I don't know if it's new this year or I missed it last year or they've made it for eternity, but I think it's perfect for this treat box. It's been a little bit difficult for me to find in my local stores, but there is an Amazon link below. This treat box opens kind of like a wallet. So we've got our adorable belly band, and then it flips open and there's our hot cocoa. Now for our make and take packet, we are including the treats and we're still offering it with a $50 or more order using the host code at marisaAlvarez.stampinup.net. Click shop, order $50 or more before tax and shipping. Don't forget the host code and we'll send you this. We're including the hot cocoa packet. You might get pumpkin spice, you might get salted caramel. All right, so treats are included though, because I've really wanted it to be a special thank you gift for everybody who helped put us over the line. All right, let's get started with our base for this project. And I just love this box. I'm glad to bring it out from the vault. You're gonna need 2 pieces of solid color cardstock. Let me put my little bits aside here. I've got basic black and they are 9 by 8 3/8 for the base of the box. And then the belly band is 1.5 by 9.5. All right, let's get our Simply Scored tool and score this up. All right, we're gonna start with our cardstock on the 8 3/8 inch side. So on the 8 3/8 inch side, we're gonna score at 3/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 4 3/8, and 4 3/4. Then we'll rotate to the right and score at 3/8 of an inch, at 5 1/4, and at 5 5/8. Now we're going to work these score lines with the bone folder and trim it according to our template. Okay, so we've got our score lines all worked with the bone folder, and we're going to start this time with our skinny little tabs in the left hand. And we're going to cut off this glue tab at an angle, and then let me show you, my template's folded, that wasn't fair. We're going to cut out the first square on the bottom left corner, and then we're just gonna liberate the bottom tabs, kind of how I usually do. Straight line along the long rectangle and kind of a angle cut on the square glue tabs. So we'll finish that across the bottom, straight and angled, angled and straight. And that is the bottom of our treat box. Now we're going to turn to the side here, and this glue tab we're going to angle cut at the next score line, and then remove this at the second score line. Now here's the little trick. We want a little fold in tab here. So go down past the first score line, intersecting score line, and then you're going to cut off these 2 rectangles, long rectangles. Now you've got two little squares here. So what you're gonna do is cut this score line away at a little angle and cut this square away at a little angle, and now you've got a little fold tab for the top of your box. Now we're going to go straight across at the second score line from the left. This is going to be the front of your box. Stop when you get to the next intersecting score line. And then we're going to do the second score line straight down, just remove the score. This in your left hand is your fold over flap. Go to the second score line and stop. Then you can fold this guy back out of the way. And with this piece that's hanging here, you've got a little square kind of right in the center. You want to keep that. That's your tab, your tuck tab. Cut. And then you're going to cut all this off by making that little angle cut on your tuck tab. Remove the score line on your tuck tab with a little angle cut. And there is your treat box. Now I'm going to get some designer series paper here. Your designer series paper in your packet will vary. Everybody's going to get something a little different. I'm making all my samples a little different too. For the body of my box and the tab of my box, I have two pieces of Them Bones designer series paper. These are for the flap 3 3/8 by 3 1/8, and then for the body of the box 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. Now the measurements for this will be on the printable project sheet available at kitchentablestamper.com. The link is below. And we want a little piece of designer series paper for our belly band also. So I've got Them Bones, another pattern, 3 patterns that look nice together is what you're going to get. And this one is 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. You've seen me do this with some of Them Bones projects that I've done over the last week or so. I like to take, especially when you're using designer series paper on a black or even a navy card base, it's kind of nice to just take the black out that white edge. The Stampin' Right markers mean that you can either black out the edge using the brush point, or if you're using a navy card base, you could use navy. If you're using, pretty peacock or garden green or something deep and dark like that, where you don't want the edge, the cut edge of the designer series paper to distract from the neatness of the project, you can just take that dark marker that matches your base and just run it along the edge, and it really does just clean up the look of the overall finished project. It takes a minute, but go and do all your pages at one time. All right, so we've done the edges of our designer series paper. Oh, you know what I forgot? Let me do a quick corner round because we're gonna have to touch up the corners before I put my marker away. So I'm gonna use a 1/2 inch corner. I've got a handy dandy We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. What you gotta keep in mind here is we've got directional paper. The box is going to open this way, so we've got to pay attention to our direction for our front panel. You might have a directional pattern in your packet too. We're going to corner round the flap though, so we're going to need to corner round both the designer series paper and the flap. And so real quick, now that I've cut those corners away, I'm just gonna finish up with my marker here. There, they look nice and neat. And now let's do matching round corners here on our box. There it is. I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere my designer series paper, just keeping in mind how the flap is going to fold down. So if you've got a piece of designer series paper picked out for the flap that has a directional orientation like the Boo Eek pattern. You want to make sure that it looks right on your flap. And then the same thing if you've got a directional pattern for the front of your box, make sure it looks right on your box. Oh, it's hard to put the glue on the on the cute side of the paper. When you get your kit, you can use either side also, so you can really make it your own. All right, now I'm going to take a 2 3/8 inch circle punch. I love this new circle punch. And I'm going to line it up in the center of the front of the box here. Makes it real easy to get our treat. And I'm just using what's left of the Designer Series paper on either side to estimate center. Sometimes that's estimating center is sometimes a recipe for disaster for me, but I think this big circle punch in that small space is going to be okay. All right, let's put this together with some tear and tape adhesive. We're going to run tear and tape down the skinny glue tab, and then we're going to lift the front panel and put some tear and tape on the bottom of the box. So there is our tear and tape placement. And I'm going to do the side of the box first, remove the liner, and we're going to square this up and make cute little boxes, almost like a very skinny crayon box. The tab doesn't tuck though, it folds over, which is a really great opportunity to display more than one pattern of your Designer Series paper pack and how well it coordinates. All right, so we've got our side, then we're going to tuck the sides in, the back to the front, remove the liner. There's a tool for that. I always try to pick it with my fingernails. Then in my head, I hear Rhonda say, "There's a tool for that, Marisa." All right, so square everything up before you burnish down. And then if you want to, you can take your bone folder and just run your bone folder from the inside, your fingers from the outside, and make sure that's nice and snug. Now we can add our pumpkin spice or salted caramel cocoa packet. And there is our little cocoa box. Isn't that awesome? Now, I don't like to score the belly band because I want to make sure that it's snug, but not too snug. And that's really hard measurement to do. You got to get into the 16ths, and our Simply Scored tool doesn't do 16ths. So what I do is I hold the box in the middle of the belly band, and then I just work the edge, okay, and wrap it tight to the corner. Don't press too much. Just make sure that you make your mark and make sure it's as accurate to the edge of the box as you can get it. Don't worry about neatness quite yet. Okay, same with the back here and then toward the front. Now we've got a belly band that's snug enough, lines up nicely in the front. So remove the box, then get your bone folder, and we're gonna make these nice clean creases. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna, where we've kind of roughed in or scored a mark, we're going to bring forward, making sure that your parallel lines of the band match up to the perpendicular line of the fold, and that way you get nice straight crisp folds. So same here, we're gonna kind of back it up, making sure that your band stays parallel as you find that crease. And then here too. And now you didn't have to work with the 1/16 of an inch that you need extra space to fit around your 3/8 inch wide box, okay? If you're like me and you don't like the maths, that's the way to do a belly band. All right, and we get nice straight lines even without a score tool or a paper trimmer because we're using the plumb line. We're using the 90-degree angle, and it does turn out really nice and tidy, and it slides nicely and it looks good. All right, so we've got our belly bands all creased with the bone folder. Now what we're going to do is we're going to choose one side to go in and one side to go out. It doesn't really matter. We're going to add tear and tape adhesive on the outside, one side of the belly band, the inside edge of the other side of the belly band. So what this is going to do is it's going to give you equal sign and secure both ends of the belly band. So when you're taking on and off, this corner doesn't come up quite as easily. It's nice and snug, and then the seam will be covered. There won't be a seam anywhere to be seen. All right, so let's remove the liner from our tear and tape adhesive, and we're going to close this belly band. All right, we've built the box. Our belly band slides nicely, but it doesn't fall off. Let's decorate. Got my sample back in here. There's our third piece of designer series paper. And if you've got the packet, we cut these pieces for you. If you're cutting your own kit, let me show you what we've got. All right, from Starry Sky cardstock, we cut this little D tag enforcer using the TaylorMade tags dies. From Smoky Slate cardstock, we cut this little clipped corner rectangle, and we use Countryside Corners dies. We've got a basic white circle, and our basic white is punched with 1 3/4 inch circle punch. You can substitute whatever tool you have for a 1 3/4 inch circle. And then our swoopy square here is cut with the handmade tag punch. We're going to adhere the swoopy square to the band. So what I'll do is add liquid glue over the seam on the band. That way there is no way that I will glue my box closed. We want this so that it's a little tiny bit low of center, so that some peeks out when we add our greeting tag. And then we're going to glue the designer series paper over that. And we'll center the designer series paper within the black of the belly band. We want it to be framed with black. Looking good. Now we want to add our circle, but again, we want to put the glue either just on the center of the circle or put the glue on the belly band. You don't want any stray glue. Otherwise, your belly band will be glued to your box. And we're going to put that one there. All right, now stamping. Let's set aside our boxes and our bits. All right, we have Memento Tuxedo Black, Old Olive, Copper Clay, Crumb Cake, and Pumpkin Pie ink. Let's grab our tag first, and we're gonna stamp you over the pick of the patch on the tag, kind of right along the bottom here, just a little bit low of center, because now we're gonna make it a fun tag. By combining the two die sets, you get some unique shapes. I love these little reinforcers. We used them on the oval punch, the double oval punch, to make cool oval tags, and now we're using them on the Countryside Corners dies to make a really cool asymmetric tag. Of course, you could glue this on this end of the tag also and get a nice long skinny with the thread hole at the other end. So think about how your dies sets can mix and match to make cool new shapes. I hope you have enjoyed this little creative tip. All right, I need some basic white cardstock. We've got to do a couple of pumpkins. We're gonna use the itty bittiest little pumpkin today. I call this one the pie pumpkin. It's teeny tiny. We're just going to stamp that little guy. He's gonna get fussy cut. And that's in copper clay. And then we're gonna stamp the small one that coordinates with the punch. And so if you've been watching our series, we have a Stamp-A-Stack card class with the pick of the patch, and then 3 videos in the series for the make and take offer. So there's lots and lots of content here with this pick of the patch bundle. And if you've been watching, then you know by now that we got to stamp this little guy on its side with the little bumps out so that we can feed it into the punch from its side. All right, then we want a couple of stems and a leaf. I'm gonna put the leaf right here. Now here's the thing, we're gonna put the leaf right here. But before we take that to the punch, we're gonna take out our little pumpkin so that it doesn't get bit. All right. Just set that one there for a second. And I'm gonna grab my punch, because once I get the little leaf punched out, then I can use the handle that I have right here for the stem. I'm gonna do that one in crumb cake. Now we've got our stamping done. Let's set these guys aside and get the ink pads out of here. Now we're gonna punch our pumpkin and stem. Oh, I did you dirty again. We need 2 stems. That's all right. Hang on just a second. I've made a bunch of these projects. Let's see if I have one in my spare parts bag. All right. I even said we needed 2 stems. I don't know if you guys do this. I save the bags when they're nice ones from the embellishments. And when I'm designing projects or creating, having fun with a stamp set, I make a bunch of pieces. And then I use the pieces to like audition in my designs. So I usually end up with some spare parts. And I'll put the spare parts in one of these little packages that Stampin' Up! Sends embellishments in. And then I take that spare parts bag when I'm done for the day or for the week or for the season with a stamp set, and then I just drop the spare parts into the case. And then the next time I go to use my pick of the patch bundle, I'll have a head start and can use these pieces that I spent some time on, and it's a good way to store them. So that's the story about the spare parts. All right, now we've got to punch out that pumpkin. Let's get that little guy. And we're gonna go with a little white border. Love. The confetti goes everywhere. It's like a pumpkin party. And then this little guy needs a trim. The punches with a little white edge, so you want to cut a little white edge. Just go around the pumpkin, but leave a little line. And you'll notice when I fussy cut, I don't move the scissors around the pumpkin. That's the hard way. I just close the scissors and use the opposite hand to guide the pumpkin. So that makes a really easy way to get that smooth cut. I know a lot of people say, I couldn't even cut a circle with scissors. But if you have something to follow around and you use the dominant hand to open and close the scissor and the non-dominant hand to steer, it does make it a little bit easier. All right, let's glue our pumpkins down. We're gonna get our stems attached first. I like this method because now we've got this teeny meeny little pumpkin pie pumpkin, and it needs a little bit shorter stem, otherwise it looks crazy. Although some of them have crazy long stems at the pumpkin patch, right? So we do it from the back, and you can kind of adjust the length of the stem. And then the little Cinderella pumpkin. This one looks like Cinderella's coach. And we'll glue that one on. And then to the circle. Be careful where you're putting your glue, because your stem might extend past and you don't want to glue your box closed. And our little pie pumpkin. So cute. Get that little guy on, put him up high so that you have room for your greeting. I'm gonna grab some dimensional adhesive. I got a little quarter right here. I'm gonna put it on the leaf. A little mini or half a mini works too. There's our pumpkins. Now our ribbon treatment. You've seen this if you've been watching this series. I love the texture that this brings. We've got about 5.5 inches of copper clay ribbon, and we're just folded in half. Then we're going to take linen thread, and about 14 inches is enough to do this. So we're going to take linen thread, and let's move this guy over here so you've got a little room to see. We're going to lay the copper clay ribbon folded on the linen thread, and then tie a knot so it cinches the little loop on top. We're going to go a little bit lower than we've gone for the cards and things because we want it to go kind of across the belly band. So we're doing a little bit, just a little bit bigger loop than we've done before on the copper clay. Not much, just a bit. All right, then when we've got the copper clay all cinched, and don't worry, we're going to give it a haircut in just a minute after we get it attached to the box, because this copper clay ribbon is just a little bit shreddy. You can put a little line of clear adhesive on the edge of the ribbon if you wanted to. Don't use this one because it never dries completely. It's a two-way glue. It dries permanent if you've got them paper to paper and wet. So if you adhere something wet, it dries permanent. If you leave it to dry, then you get a temporary or repositionable adhesive. So don't use this one to like fray check your ribbon. Get yourself a good clear adhesive, and you could fray check it if you want to. Otherwise, what I've been doing is after I get the ribbon on the project and I'm done handling it, done tying it up with twine and done gluing it down, then I just give it a quick little haircut. And once it's on the project, it's a little bit less likely to fray because it's not getting manhandled, All right, so we just thread the tag onto the twine, and we're going to tie a big loopy bow so we get both textures. It just screams fall and pumpkin patch with the linen thread. It kind of has a straw feel to it. All right, now we've got our pick of the patch tag with a nice loop. What I'm gonna do now for this project is I'm just going to line up the ribbon how I want it to show from the front. And then I just happen to have right now this dimensionals with this long piece. So I'm gonna sandwich my ribbon so it stays where I want it and supports my tag. Can peel this, and now we got an adhesive tag. We're going to pop that right on. Make sure that your dimensionals don't go past the belly band and the swoopy square. You don't want to glue your belly band to the treat box, and then we can trim our tails. So that is our pick of the patch hot cocoa treat box. If you've got any questions about the project or the free make and take offer, if there's anything I can do to help you stay crafty, please email us, staycrafty@kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up! 24/7, use the host code for orders of $50 or more before tax and shipping, and I'll send you a packet. Buzz over to marisalvarez.stampinup.net and click shop. All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and thank you so much for your support at this Stampin' Up! Year end and helping me meet my goal. If there's anything that I can do for you, please reach out. Have a good day, guys, and thank you for all of your orders. It means the world to me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.